Really quick to fans of Boundary Break, this is a one-off video. This is not a new direction for the channel. So if this is not a video you're interested in, just stay tuned in about a week and you'll get a new Boundary Break episode. In the meantime, you might have missed the Animal Crossing episode, the Mario Odyssey, maybe the Bully episode. I'm going to leave links to all these episodes in the video description down below in case you missed it and you just want more content like that. Anyways, let's get started. Hey, what's up? So a couple of you guys wanted to get to know me better, and I was trying to think of a way to do that in an entertaining way. And you could do like the Q&A and draw my life and all that stuff. And I never like to go with the flow. I like to kind of do my own thing. So I kind of came up with this idea. I'm going to try to make it as entertaining as possible. We'll see. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you guys a series of stories, real life stories that I've experienced in an attempt to have you get to know me a little bit better. These topics were curated for me and I don't know what they were ahead of time. So let's get started. The first one is stories of getting robbed. This one's picked out by my friends. I hope this lands. Anyways, they know that I guess I have a bit of a optimistic outlook on the whole thing. I've been robbed, I think only once, maybe, successfully. There's been an attempted robbery made on me lots of times. I don't even want to think about the number. But 2 times it was at point. Oh, I shouldn't say that word. I'll just bleep it out. Anyways, the first time that happened, I was trick-or-treating in a not great city. It wasn't the one that I grew up in. That was bad too. But this one was where my friend lived at. And so we went trick-or-treating, a little bit older than we should have been, honestly. And I'm walking down this not great area, and some kid calls me from behind, and he's like, "Hey, come here a second." And I'm like, okay, sure. And I walk over, leave my friends behind to go up to these complete strangers. And the guy, pulls it out. And he's like, give me all your candy. Without question, I just hand over the candy and I go back to my friends and they were like, "Where's your candy?" And I was like, I got robbed. And then all of a sudden, the girl out of that group comes running back and is like, "Hey, sorry about those guys. They're just a bunch of jerks. Here's your candy back." So I got my candy back, which was great. The second time, though, was way worse. I mean, I guess they're both bad, but the second time I worked at a Walgreens. I was manning the register, and a guy comes in. He's very calm, puts it on the counter, and he goes like, I just need you to put all the money on a counter for me. And I'm shook. Like, I don't know what to do. I'm like paralyzed almost. And I'm clearly distraught, giving this man the money. And I'll remember the fact that while I was doing it, he was like, "You're doing a good job. Don't worry about it. It's fine." He's like trying to calm me down, which I thought was really interesting. Oh, I hated Walgreens, by the way. Everybody there was a complete jerk. I don't know why. They just did not like me. And it was so bad that it's relevant to the story. We were looking over the security footage, and the manager and the assistant manager were mocking how I looked in the footage because I was so terrified, Ugh. And there are a couple more, but I guess like the last interesting one, was I was doing jogging in my town, and I started, like going in bad parts of the town. I made it to like the mall area of my town, and this kid comes up to me on his bike, and he asks to borrow my phone. Now, I know at this point I've been in enough attempted robberies not to hand anybody my phone. So I told him where he could find a phone. It was very close by. And then he was like, "Hey, let me borrow $2. And I was like, "I have no money, man." That was true. And then he gets off his bike, puts his hand on my chest, and goes, "Give me your money." No, sorry. "Give me your chain." And I will never forget it. I was right in front of a Toys R Us, and I look at him for like 3 seconds, just like, the slowest 3 seconds of my life. And then I just book it right inside of that Toys R Us. And I worked at that Toys R Us, so I knew exactly where to go. I hid behind like, some employee area. I didn't work it there at the time anymore, but they allowed me in the back. I called the police. And the guys working at Toys R Us were like, yeah, he's still out there. And I was like, why is this guy still out there? He's just assuming I'm going to walk back out and just repeat that whole mess? All right. So the police show up, arrest him, and then I got the experience of what it's like when someone gets arrested. They wanted to charge him with assault. I thought that was ridiculous. I was like, can it be attempted robbery? And they were like, no. Okay. Well, he attempted to rob me, but he was like, well, there's more evidence of the fact that he touched you, and therefore we can charge him with assault. I was like, no. But I had to, it's so weird. You get in this like little meeting room with some cops or something, I don't know. And then the person who assaulted you or committed a crime against you has to sit in the room with you. And he was with his mom. And then all of a sudden, they're like going over all of the things that, you know, he did. And this kid is maniacally laughing while I'm in the room and everything. It was very strange. And then his mom mentions the fact, well, first of all, she apologizes on his behalf, which I thought was really nice. But then she then mentioned that he was supposed to be on medication. And the cops were like, all right, well, we're going to write in a court order for someone to visit your house so that you have to take this medication. And while they're explaining this, the kid has like this blood curdling scream like he had an exorcism or something. It was the most bizarre experience ever. Okay, worst first date. Man, okay. Here's the thing about first dates with me. Either I'm a complete disaster or the person that I'm dating is a complete disaster. Not always. Sometimes the stars align. But obviously, if I gotta do this, I'm gonna tell you the story of the worst other person. So the worst first date, once again, it came from Walgreens. I was at the cashier and a girl walks up and she buys her stuff. And as she's walking out, she says, "Bye, Angel Eyes." And I was like, me? Okay, thank you. I was pretty flattered. Then she came back and she asked for my number. And I was like, this is all awesome. Nobody ever asked for my number. And nobody ever compliments me. So, you know, that's pretty awesome. So I go on a date with her. I set up a date. And we're at this restaurant. And she, at one point during the date, says, I just need to let you know, I hope you're okay with this. I'm a cat person. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. I like cats too. You know, it's fine. Cats are great. And she was like, no, I don't think you understand what I mean. And I was like, I guess I don't. What do you mean? You know? And so then she's like, I'm a cat person. So like my personality is basically that of a cat. And I was like, can you describe what you're talking about? And she was like, so if I'm happy, I purr. And then she starts purring. And then she's like, and if I'm angry, I hiss. And she goes, "Sss," you know, all this stuff. And I'm just trying my best not to look terrified. And then I start asking just buffoonery questions. I start saying like, well, do you clean yourself by licking? And she was like, sometimes. And then she just like rolls up her sleeve and starts licking her arm. And I need to get the heck out of here fast. I didn't know what to do because we had just started the date. Thankfully, a friend of mine, Carl, who has shown up on the channel before, he texted me and he said, how's the date going? And you know, I had a moment to be like, this is terrible. What can you do anything for me? And so he shows up at the restaurant and goes like, oh, Derek, you know, how's it going, man? How you doing? And I was like, hell, wow, Carl, you know, what are you doing here? And he's like, oh, we were just in the area. It's so weird to see you. You mind if we sit at the table? And she was totally cool with it, to be honest with you. But yeah, it just, it allowed there to be a barrier between us, and I got out of there. That was the worst first date. And there were a lot of bad ones too, but she takes the cake. A heartfelt story. Okay. Jeez. That's a tough one. I'd need more time to think about that. But I guess one of my favorite memories is having to practice for Little League Baseball. My dad wanted me to be so good at baseball. I'm just not an athlete type. I just never was. And we spent hours trying to catch a baseball in a baseball glove. And it just was not happening. And after, I think, like 2 hours, or at least what felt like 2 hours, it was hot. I was done. I stopped trying. And I remember I just held out my glove like this, with just the dullest expression on my face. And my dad throws the baseball at a good distance, mind you. And just completely by chance, the ball lands into the glove, and I didn't squeeze it or anything. It just lobbed itself so perfectly that the guy would have won a carnival game if it was in that context. It just landed in the glove and stayed there. And my dad was so proud. They came barreling over and picked me up, threw me up in the air and stuff like that. And even as a small child, I remember, that didn't really happen legitimately. Like, he just happened to throw the ball so well. But I couldn't have the heart to tell him that, It was his moment, I felt. And I didn't want to take that away from him. A funny story. Oh, I got lots of those. So here's one that's like on the surface because, maybe someday you guys want more of these. I seriously doubt it, but I'm going to keep them in the bank for later. But here's one that's kind of, a little bit related to my channel. It's video game related. Here we go. So there was one time I'm walking in the public park with a friend of mine, and there was this river. You guys might have heard this story already if you've checked out Game Club Podcast. I'm going to tell it again anyway. I don't care. Anyways, we're walking by a river, like a pretty decent, like 5-foot river or something like that. And maybe 6 feet. I don't know what's a serious distance. But anyways, he was like, I bet you can't jump over that river. And at the time, I played a lot of Super Mario 64. And my favorite move in the game was the long jump. And I was like, I bet you I can. So I jump like Mario does in Mario 64 with the long jump. Now, here's the problem with the long jump. Your back's all the way over here, and your legs are all the way in the front. Can you guess what happened? Well, I made it to the other side of the river. I really did. Both feet landed on the other side of the river. The problem is that all my weight was back here. And so my feet buckled and slipped right underneath me, and I landed right on my bum, and then I fell right into the river. I was okay. I wasn't hurt. But afterwards, my friend was like, hey, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm fine. And he was like, what was that jump? It's like, I saw it in Mario and I tried to do it. So stupid. Any story I want, huh? Okay. All right. This one's kind of ridiculous. I, one time, tried to defend my neighborhood from a bunch of no good kids. When I was 12 years old, I lived in this, nice neighborhood, and all the neighbors were nice. And then one day, this white kid comes in with another white kid, and they spelt out bad news. You can probably guess what I mean when I say that. And I just could not accept that. Now, I'm not a strong guy. I mean, I'm working on it. Fourth day at the gym. Thank you very much. But back then, I was super duper skinny. I really couldn't stand up to anybody. So anyways, I had this idea where I decided to threaten them with water balloons. And I had two of my friends in my house waiting with more water balloons. It was a huge elaborate plan. And so the kid's name was Brady. And I go up to Brady and I tell him, I was like, hey, Brady, I know what you've been doing here. And I'm just telling you, you need to leave. And he's like, I'm not leaving, And he's like, are you kidding me? What are you going to do? So I pull out the water balloon from behind my back and I'm like, I'm going to hit you with this water balloon if you don't leave. So he gets up immediately. He's like, throw the water balloon at me, bro. Throw the water balloon at me. Throw the water balloon at me. He's like walking closer and closer to me, and I'm stepping further and further back. And I was like, I'll do it. I mean, you're literally asking me to throw this water balloon at you. And he's like, yeah, go ahead. Throw the water balloon. Throw it. I dare you. Go ahead. And I was like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. I dare you. And I was like, okay. And I throw the water balloon at him, smack in the head. He's drenched, dude. And I start running back as fast as I can back to my house because I can't beat this kid in a fight. It's not happening. So I'm running back to my house. And unfortunately, I didn't think fast enough to have the door open for me when I came up my porch. And he caught up to me. And I just kind of get in the turtle position. He starts like wailing on my back. And my friends open up the doors. And they pull me in, and as he's walking back, we all start throwing a ton of water balloons at him from the windows. And as corny as that idea was, and I'm sure a lot of you tough guys out there probably have many ideas of how to handle someone like me, he didn't come back. It worked. And, it worked for as long as I lived there. Eventually, my family got evicted, and supposedly it was very quickly after that everything just went, kaputs in that neighborhood, and it's not so great anymore. I just realized I said something kind of weird with the whole eviction thing. Really quick, I just want to say that if you were in a similar situation to mine, and your family may have lost their home or your apartment or whatever, and it put you in a worse off place than it was before, just remember to keep marching forward. There's lots of opportunities in life to bounce back, and you just sometimes have to wait it out. Following those years, it was pretty tough. There was a lot of crappy places that my family moved to, and it didn't really look like there was a solution in sight, but my mom ended up going back to college, getting a promotion at her job, and we were back at a house like 15 years later. And then, look at me now, I'm now doing Boundary Break, and I live in a place of my own. So just remember, what can seem like a terrible moment in your life can evolve into something even better sometimes. You just gotta stick it out and try your best. Anyways, I'll see ya. Hope that you enjoyed this. Later. Oh yeah, that's right. Animal Crossing videos back up. Officially, the claim has been dropped. So, it took about 30 days, but I can finally, earn an income off of that again. Feel free to check that out if you want.